Greetings and welcome to My Backstage Pass. You're here with our host, Billy Hubbard, and I'm Lee Zimmerman. And today we have two very special guests. We have Billy Prine and Michael Dinallo, two excellent singer-songwriter musicians. Billy has a new EP out that we'll be talking about, A Place I Used to Know. And Michael is his producer. So it's great to have both you guys on the show today. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning.
It's almost afternoon on the East Coast, Mr. Prine.
I know. It'll be happy hour in a couple hours.
There you go. There you go. Now we have two Billys here, so we're gonna have to differentiate. My buddy Billy Hubbard and now Billy Prine. So Billy versus Billy. Michael and I don't have to worry about the confusion, but you guys will sort it out,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, you can just call me Bill if you want.
Bill. Okay. All right.
I was going to say, you can call me Billy. Bill, or Will. Well,
Will. We're going to Will, William, whatever we need to do here. Anyway,
Okay.
it's great to have both you guys on the phone, and Billy, congratulations on the new EP. Now, is this your
Thank you.
Is this your solo debut, so to speak?
It's not my first release. I did a couple more, but it's really kind of, excuse a cliche, kind of broken the glass ceiling for me as far as getting some notoriety and some interest and some sales. And so it's almost like a first record in that sense.
All right.
You know, I did a couple, in the last 10 years, and they're pretty good, but, that's mostly a selling gigs.
Right.
And I sold them through Old Boy Records, my late brother John's label. I wasn't on that label, but they used to sell them through their, mail order thing. And, it was mostly selling gigs.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. But this to me is like the first real record I've ever made. Michael did such a great production job on it. Playing, putting everything together, and I'm really, really happy with the results. And the as they used to say, it's making some noise out there. So
sounds great.
That's really good. Because it's been a crazy year for me with the loss of my brother and this COVID. I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
But, I'm very pleased with this, so.
And you cover a couple of your brother's songs on this EP too. So it's a wonderful thing that, in a way you're carrying on that legacy and also stepping out on your own. It's a great combination.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because, the two I covered, one is the more familiar song that John did. The other one is not really as familiar. So, Paradise, which is, basically a true story about this little town we used to go to in Kentucky. That's where all my family is from originally, going back hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And then the other one, If You Don't Want My Love, he wrote with Phil Spector back in the mid-'70s. He put it on an album called Bruised Orange, which was on Asylum. But,
right.
Paradise, a lot of people know. But the other one, I don't think people have heard it so much. So that's kind of cool,
Was that the pre-Jailhouse Phil Spector?
Oh, yeah.
Prior to I wonder if John got an inside look at the wig the Phil Spector
Well,
wig.
I did too.
You did?
I got a little sidebar story if you want to hear it.
All right.
I'll try to condense it because I know you want to talk to Michael too. But
I'll just interject here and there. You do all the talking.
Long story short, Robert Hilburn, music critic for the Los Angeles Times, was always a big supporter of my brother John. John started playing in California, like at the Troubadour. I think his first run at the Troubadour was in '72. He opened for Dan Hicks and the Hot Licks. Did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dan Hicks was really packing them in then. But anyway, well, somehow Hilburn was talking to Spector one night because they were friends. And he just mentioned John Prine, and Phil Spector said, "Yeah, that guy is like one of the best songwriters I've heard, compared to all this other stuff." And he said, "Well, would you like to meet him?" And Phil said, "Yeah." So he invited him over. Phil invited my brother over to his original mansion, the one that was more in Hollywood, not the one where the horrible thing happened. But
right.
So they make arrangements to go over there. It's about 1975, maybe 76. And John's manager, the late Al Bonetta, he was with John for 40 years. Al just moved the management of John from New York to L.A. So anyway, they get to this place. There's all these fences, warning, guard dogs. He had about 10 Doberman pinchers.
Oh, God.
Well.
So they get in the house, and Al whispers to my brother, he goes, "I'm not going to hang out here. This is like too weird." And that's the only time my brother's manager ever abandoned him anywhere.
Oh, so he left him? He left him to the mercy of Phil Spector?
Yeah, he left him there. And John said, "I'll be okay." Because Phil Spector came out. His kids come running out. He had a Christmas tree set up. It was in the middle of like July. And my brother said, "What's with this Christmas tree?" And Phil said, "Hey, every day should be Christmas. Ain't that right, kids? And who's the king of rock and roll?" And his kids went, "You, Daddy, you, Daddy." So Anyway, it started off on a light note. Phil, started talking. I met Phil. He loved to talk about music. If he liked you, he really would latch into a good conversation with you and put aside all the silly stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, after Al left, Phil sat down at the piano. My brother, they had a guitar there, and they wrote 2 songs.
Wow.
And the first one they wrote was "If You Don't Want My Love." And right after they finished, Phil said, "Excuse me." He jumps up and he goes into his kitchen and he locks all the doors, and my brother hears all these dishes break. And so my brother knocks the door down with his shoulder to see what's going on. And Phil Spector's got his gun out, pointed at the ceiling, going, "We just wrote a #1 hit, and I got the bullet to prove it."
Wow.
Kaboom.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And then they went back and wrote a song called "God Only Knows," which was on John's last album called "The Tree of Forgiveness."
Yeah.
"God Only Knows" wasn't really finished, so John had to I don't know, I think he put a bridge in it or something, But I was laughing with him. I said, "Well, Phil be getting some mailbox money for the commissary at San Quentin or wherever they got him locked up, from the Prine brothers."
Wow. Yeah, I hear, it was it was a killer tune. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't say that. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Oh man, good one.
So Michael, how did the two of you meet? How did this happen to come across here?
Let's see. We met about 3.5 years ago in 2017. I'm from Boston, but I was looking to make moved to Nashville, and I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to live. I'd been going there since 1988 with various bands and spent a lot of time there. But, the city had changed so much. So I was looking for a situation where it was a shared living space, and I answered an ad, and it was a room for rent outside of Nashville, not far outside of downtown. And, I went over and I saw the room, and the woman was really nice. And, she's talking about, how her boyfriend was a musician. And, I decided to take the room. And that when I moved about a month later, I spent my first morning, with her having tea and coffee, and we were talking about different things. She's talking about her boyfriend who's in Florida. And she's going on and, about how he's done this and he's done that. And he's got a famous older brother. And she goes, and I was like, my interest was obviously piqued. And I was like, well, who is he? What's his name? She goes, oh, you probably never heard of him. And she goes, his name's Billy Prine. And I said, yeah, of course I have. And I've even seen him perform. And she thought she was going to drop her cup of coffee. Because the year earlier, I was in Nashville, and I had some business to attend to with Jim Lauderdale, because he was on a record that I was producing right around that time called The Songs of Charlie Rich. I feel like going home, The Songs of Charlie Rich.
Great album, by the way.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So I needed to talk to Jim, so I went to Music City Roots that night in Franklin, because Jim was the host. And it just happened to be that the featured guest that night was Billy Prine. So I actually saw him perform a year before we met. And then I think it was in July. It was July of 2017 when he came back up from Florida, and I had been away from Nashville for a while, and I came back, and we met and we sat and we talked, and I think we played not that day or even the next day, but shortly thereafter for the first time. And it was just like one of those instant fits, where he was doing what he did and I was doing what I did. And there was really not a whole lot of communication between us about what we were doing. We were just playing music together, and it just really clicked from the very first time we played. And we, got to know each other, and we spent a lot of time together. We still spend a lot of time together. And we were playing like maybe a week later, and I was starting to think about the possibilities of what we could do together, and Billy was too. And it was just playing a whole bunch of songs, and I was pretty familiar with John's music, knowing all the songs that everybody knows. And Billy started playing this song, and it turned out to be "If You Don't Want My Love," which I had not heard before. I was not familiar with John's Bruised Orange record, and I was like, "Wow, that's such a great song." And we started talking about making a record, and I had already had ideas of how to produce this specific song right from the get-go, the very first time we played together. And it was just this whole, I hate to use the word vibe, but more of a mood, kind of like something kind of swampy but kind of soulful, some country soul, so I was working on the arrangement, and I had to send the song to some of the guys that were playing on the record, and we didn't have a demo version of ourselves. So I downloaded John's version, and that was the first time I ever heard it. And I was like, wow, what we're going to do is completely different from what John did on the record, which I thought was really cool. I think that's my favorite song on the record.
Wow.
I think it's my favorite song.
Wow.
It's just,
yeah, I'd have to say, I'd have to jump in and probably say that myself too. Yeah.
It's just this really soulful piece of music, and everybody that's on it, our friend Keith Sykes is singing harmony on it, and it's just like everybody it just clicked. It's one of those things. I was playing it for one of my friends who's also a great producer. And the first words out of his mouth when he heard it, he goes, "Wow, that sounds like something like John Hyatt's 'It Feels Like Rain.'" Because
Yeah.
it has that kind of vibe to it, that kind of mood to it, like that song, with that time period of Hyatt. I was like, wow, sure, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. But we just kind of hit it off, and we started playing some gigs, and we never talked about a set list. We never talked about anything. He would just get up there and go, and some of the gigs were just the two of us, and I would just follow along, and sometimes we had a band with us, and it was just kind of this, for the most part, this unspoken thing. And then we just collected a bunch of songs, and we went in and started working on a record.
Hey, Michael, I was listening to your guys. You got your own podcast too, as well.
Yeah,
we
do.
can pitch that, which is Prime.
Yes, we
Prime.
do.
You got the cool name too, Prime Time, man. That's
Prime time.
It's prime time.
But I wish I could remember. I listened to a few episodes, and Michael quoted. I forgot how you described it, but you was telling about. You said you described the album a certain way, and too bad I can't remember how you said it.
Michael,
Was it the
onus is on you. What did you say?
It was pretty.
Was it the?
Yeah,
was
I
it
don't
like
remember that one, but
was it like
lay it on me.
Was it one of those mini? Was it one of the mini episodes?
Yeah, it was.
Just make something up,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Make it up. Make it up on the spur of the moment here.
Now you have to
Doesn't
go listen
matter.
to your own
We'll buy
podcast.
into it.
I'll have to go back and send you an email.
But anyway, but no, I love.
A lot of times I describe it as 21st century blues.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. It was.
that it?
Blues.
Yeah, it
We'll
was.
go
Yeah,
with that.
which is a good,
We'll go with that.
That's
That was
Yeah,
it. Seriously,
yeah,
I knew it was something about 21st century. That's right.
It was probably 24. A lot of times I call it modern blues for the 21st century.
Yeah,
Something like that.
it definitely had
modern blues
good sound.
for swinging lovers.
Love it. That's an
The
album title.
Sinatra. I listened to all those Sinatra records from Capitol.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, if you don't want my love, real quick, that's the softest I've ever sang, because I got a very powerful voice.
Yeah.
And I got it from, again, I know that doesn't sound like the song, but I always loved Bill Medley's voice, and You've Lost That Love and Feeling.
Oh, yeah.
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 I think that's probably my favorite Phil Spector production.
Back to Phil
is
Spector
so-
here. Back to Phil Spector, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so smooth in the way, and I'm used to singing like, I'm a blues shouter, and a lot of stuff, but to sing a voice with that timbre was really a new experience for me. And yeah, I like, I like singing a little soft sometimes, I don't know. It was a different bag for me, and I was really happy with the way it came out. Really happy.
Yeah, I think one of the things that made and continues to make our musical collaboration just click on all cylinders is both of us, as much other music as we listen to and we love, when you really boil it down to the purest form of what we both really gravitate towards, it's blues. And it's just such a common language between the two of us that I think that has so much of why things just come out the way they come out.
Your wife,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to put in a plug for Michael's wife, Juliet Simmons, who's a wonderful singer as well. And, just a real, I guess, a bluesy chanteuse, as they might say. So I guess that feeling spreads. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Juliet's great. She really is. Well, it's like the old saying, it all came from the blues. It always will.
Yeah.
American music, jazz, rock, all that stuff. It all begins with the blues.
That is true.
And I, growing up in Chicago, but I got my blues education early through the British band. Now with Michael, I think it's a little different. He can elaborate on that if you want, unless you had something else you wanted to talk about.
Well, Michael, unless Michael has something. Okay, Michael, the microphone is yours.
Oh, geez. I could take that in any number of directions.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I really like the Stones. I like the Animals. I like John Mayall's stuff with Peter Green, Eric Clapton, early Fleetwood Mac.
Heck yeah.
There's a band in Chicago called the Shadows of Night that had a hit with Gloria that Van Morrison did. And they were basically a blues band, a garage blues band. And, I just, that's how I discovered. I bought a John Mayall album called Crusade. It was Mick Taylor.
Oh, great album.
He was like 18 years old. Some of the best guitar playing ever. And that's when he had John McVie before McVie started Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And he had a great horn section. And I just looked up every song by a blues guy on that record and found it. Okay. And listened to the original, like J.B. Leonard. I never heard of him. I never heard really of Albert King before John Mayall, and it just opened up, like the Stones records I bought, McKinley Morganfield. Well, that's Muddy Waters,
Mm-hmm.
And I actually looked his name up in the Chicago Suburban phone directory and called him once.
You did? Really?
His number was actually listed. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So, and all those cats used to play in Chicago. I was really into Butterfield, Paul Butterfield, Mike Bloomfield. It was a mecca of blues, as everyone knows. And, so that was my original education of the blues were those cats.
Funny, so you just looked him up in an old-fashioned phone book. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I got to ask Billy.
Yeah, and he answered the phone and he talked to me.
Wow.
It was short, just hey man, come see a show sometime. So I said, that's cool, Muddy. I'll be there. So. Anyway,
or did he say something like, I told you, I already gave at the office. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I didn't order any damn pizza. Leave me alone.
Right, exactly.
Bill, I got to ask now, whenever you got a brother, John Prine, his brother, and, the rest of the world's influenced by him, and you as a songwriter, I know in Mark's case, you don't look at them like the rest of the world, but, how did that influence your music?
Good question. I haven't. I have to admit, first of all, I haven't written a whole lot of songs. I hope to change that, and I definitely am.
As far as your style of music, the blues
thing. Yeah, I did the folky thing for a while in the 70s, just playing open mics. And I just had a wide variety of different songs I did by other people.
Right.
So me throwing away my Stratocaster, I had a garage band called Rasputin. Great name, right?
Yeah.
So, but we never got out of the basement, we never got out of the gulag, So, but anyway, I just went through this whole trip. The band broke up. I was sick of the whole, loud electric thing. John had just made it with his first album. So I went and got it. I sold my Strat for an acoustic. And I just started being like a folk blues guy. I'd go see Spider John Corner, who's great. One of the great American blues guys of all time. And I saw him open for Bonnie Raitt when Bonnie was just doing a duo with Freebo on bass.
Cool.
And then I went to see Lightning Hopkins. Okay, I saw Roosevelt Sykes. I saw all these cats. And then I went to California. The song, if you want to talk about the first song I wrote, which is Young Man, Old Man Blues, it kicks off this record.
Yeah.
I got that from, believe it or not, Jeff Lynne and ELO, Don't Bring Me Down.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Because that single, when I first heard that, I just said, man, what a great single. It's powerful. I mean, I always liked ELO, but I didn't really follow them that much. But I said, God, I like that. So it's kind of based on just the music structure of it. The words are just about getting older, that's all, you know.
Oh, yeah.
God, I thought I was old back then. I was a pup back then, you know. I'm ready for the rock and roll rest home right now, you know. But
Well, I would imagine, though, that there's a yin and a yang to being John Prine's brother. First of all, there's probably a lot of expectation, because you're being measured perhaps against your brother's accomplishments. But on the other hand, you want to set yourself apart and be your own person. So how does that affect you, those two different aspects of the connection?
Well, the songwriting thing, for a long time, I didn't even try to write just because I figured I'm never going to write a song as good as my brother. And even when I worked for his management, I worked for his record label for 8 years. They used to want me to go out and try to find some talent. And I just told my boss, Al Bonetta, I said, listen, I'm not going to go to these in-the-round songwriter things and sit through a bunch of people trying to write songs like John Prine, Guy Clark, Bob Dylan, whatever. I said, I'll try to find you bands, but until I hear somebody that can write as good as my brother, I'm not interested. You know,
that's a high bar.
Yeah, really.
Well, I'm just saying because
you're still looking.
I couldn't. What's that?
You're still looking.
I know. I'm still looking. Exactly. I mean, it's nothing worse than a bad song sung by somebody on an acoustic guitar. To me, it's just like, man, But I'm very critical too. Being I guess it's my Virgo sign, whatever. But I just. And I met these people. I know Chris Christopherson. Okay, I know Guy Clark. I knew Guy Clark. He's been gone for a while, but I'm just saying, John Prine, those guys. I always was really like as a performer. I like Ramblin' Jack Elliott. Now here's a guy that didn't write a lot of songs, but he interpreted other people's songs, definitely in his own way. Right. And that's kind of what I was doing when I was doing the folky thing. But getting back to John, I mean, when you got a brother who's writing like some of the best songs in the world, it can be kind of like you said, a yin yang thing. Me and John had a standing routine that. Everybody, this is John Prine's brother. And John used to introduce me as, hi, I'm John. I'm Billy Prine's brother.
There you go. There you
go. Because, it's hard to live up to stuff like that sometimes. You get tired of it. Sometimes I just chase people away from me, because I'd be trying to have a conversation and they'd be trying to milk me for all this information on John, and I'm cordial, but after a while it gets old,
Yeah.
But But hey, listen, I wouldn't want it any other way. I just wish he was still here to see some of the good things that are happening. But,
of course. But you have another brother, Dave, don't you? That we talked about when I interviewed you a couple of months ago.
Yeah, Dave is incredible. We were going to do a brothers record.
Yeah.
We had a producer, Jim Rooney was going to produce it. We were going to do it at a Cowboy Jack Clement's old studio. We were picking songs. And then, this COVID thing hit. John got it. And so me and my brother, but about Dave, Dave's incredible. Dave's the original one of the family to play. He's got a high tenor voice. He can do the good harmony. He's great on like banjo, guitar. Plays auto harp, he's a good dobro player, and he's really steeped in like the new Lost City Rampers type of music, the original mountain music and stuff, the pre-bluegrass stuff. And I'm going to do a record with Dave. We're still going to do a Prine Brothers record.
I have a suggestion for a producer. His name is Michael. You might know him, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's
okay.
Yeah,
we're putting you on the spot, both of you.
No. That's my exact. That's I just called Michael's publicist this morning, and she said he's open. So
he's open.
But yeah, I want me and Dave to do. We're not going to sit down and write. Maybe I can come up with one song and do something, but I mainly want to concentrate on the songs that we grew up on through my mom and dad's record collection, and just, Dave knows a wealth of material. He used to teach at the Old Town School of Folk Music, one of the greatest music schools in the world.
Right.
That's where John started. That's where Dave started. That's where Roger McGuinn started, Bob Gibson, Steve Goodman. You can go down the whole list. Win Strachey started it. Studs Terkel used to hang out there. I mean, it's an institution. It's really great place.
Hey.
People talk, Berkeley is great, but I'm telling you, if you want to learn how to sing and play a song, go to the Old Town School of Folk Music and take a few classes.
Wow, good plug. Yeah. Good plug.
Hey, Billy, I was reading a quote that John said this. I think I found this a while ago. It said, when we were kids, John said, I used to beat up Billy like any big brother does. And when he got to be almost 7 feet tall, I figured maybe it's a good time to stop.
Yeah, well, he went into the Army, and I was, I was 13, and he got out, and he hears this booming voice going, "Welcome home, John." And he jumped. And there I was. I sprouted up, and John used to, we used to, he had 7 years of me, man. It was like, it'd be like Ali fighting, Pee Wee Ellis or something, I mean,
Well, the picture I saw with you guys beside each other, I was surprised. I said, wow, man, John, I don't know how tall he was, but.
Oh, God, the height thing. I know you always. God bless him. He introduced me when I used to get up and do Paradise with him a lot as an encore at his shows. He'd go, "Here's my little big brother. He's 6'8". I'm not 6'8". I'm only 6'6". I wish I was only 6'2".
That's pretty tall, though. That's 6'6". You're a tall fella there.
Well, heck, I see.
Yeah, I got all the height, and John got all the fame. But I mean, you couldn't have asked to have a better brother than John Prine. I mean, I'm just saying, he loved to make people happy.
Yeah, if you're gonna
really enjoyed it.
If you're gonna get beat up by somebody, I can't imagine anybody better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Bragging rights.
I'm a blessed individual to have the brothers that I have, because they're all, I got 3 brothers. I got 1 left.
Yeah.
My other brother, Douglas, was a Chicago policeman for 35 years.
Wow.
He was a lieutenant.
Wow.
And he didn't play music, but he was a great dancer, and he was a wild man.
Wow.
You know, they used to call him the singing sheriff at Howlin Wolf Club.
Your brother John was the singing postman.
He was the singing postman. Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
yeah, blending all different occupations here. So what's next for the two of you, separately, individually, combined? What's up and coming here? Of course, we've got to wait till after the COVID leaves us here, but what's in the sights? Which will hope.
Well, Michael's got a couple projects he's working on. Why don't you tell him about that, Michael? And then we can talk about our future.
Sure. I started 2 records back in the summer, and a record on myself, a follow up to my first record, and then another record for Juliet. And then as we were going along, I was starting to listen to things, and we were talking about different things. And on Juliet's record, we were going to have Annabelle, well, not have, but Annabelle, our daughter, sings her first lead vocal, and she just kills it.
Wow.
She absolutely kills it. It's unbelievable.
Is that the one you played for me?
Yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was really good.
I was in the studio about a month ago, or no, I guess it was about 2 months ago now. And I played it for the McCrary sisters, and the McCrarys know her. They've known her for a bunch of years, and they flipped out over it too. So,
how old is Annabelle?
She'll be 10 in 2 weeks.
She's a prodigy.
She's grown up in it,
Yeah.
She's never known anything else, and she just started playing piano, and boy, the kid can really sing, and she didn't even realize it. And so I was just, I was listening to everything, and it was my EP and with some instrumentals and Juliet stuff, and I was just thinking to myself, it's like this makes no sense to release multiple, because we were going to release both records on the same day.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, and I was like, it just doesn't make any sense. Let's just combine them. So we did that. I dropped a couple songs off my record because Billy's going to sing on one, and our friend Keith Sykes sang on one.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is release those songs as a A/B single somewhere down the line. But so I took the instrumental stuff and one song that Juliet sang on my record and her record with Annabelle. We put them together, and so we've done the first, I guess, for lack of a better word, family record. Wow. It's going to be called the Dinallos. It comes out Friday, February 26th of next year on Memphis International Records. And we'll see where it goes. It's fun. It's different than anything that I've done, and it's very different from the stuff that Juliet's done, and it's very cool. I played Billy some of the stuff back in last month when we were together, and one of the things I played him, which is this little instrumental piece where I took we do a family vacation every year up in Maine, where Juliet's family is originally from, in Sargentville, which is way up what they call down East Maine, and it's pouring down rain one day. So I just stuck a recorder out and I recorded the rain. And then years and years ago, 20 years ago, I was touring Norway, and I ran into this guy, really amazing artist and sculptor and musician, lives right on the North Sea on the west coast of Norway, and he invented this thing called the wind harp. And it's a bunch of strings, and they're all tuned to either C or G, so you get this big C chord. He put it up on his roof and recorded something like an hour of the wind howling off the North Sea.
Wow.
And if you've ever been in that part of the world, the wind howling off the North Sea is an amazing thing in nature, and he recorded it so that you have the wind rippling the strings, and he had pickups under the strings and recorded it. And so I combined the pouring rain in Maine from this year with the wind blowing off the North Sea of 20 years ago, and then I played a little guitar melody, and I put all of them together, and it's about a minute long, and I played it for Billy, and he goes, "Wow, it sounds like Pink Floyd."
No, it's brilliant.
Pink Floyd.
It's really brilliant.
That sounds awesome.
I mean, that's
I want to hear that.
very, very, very cool.
It's a very eclectic record,
Do you have to pay residuals to the Rain and the Wind? Do they get residuals?
Well,
you're taking me seriously the way you pause there. Don't do that.
The wind has blown down the road, so I can't catch up to it.
Okay.
And so this one,
we're going to have Al Roker do the liner notes.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
So that comes out next year, and I've got some other stuff, and Billy and I are going to get together and write some more songs for a new record and start that. In fact, I've got some ideas. He's got some ideas.
And we want to get on the road again.
Yeah.
We want to get on as the Willie Nelson song, I mean, I miss playing. I miss playing live.
Hey, as soon as you guys are ready, come this way.
I mean, the Zoom thing is cool that everybody's doing, but man, there's nothing like being in a club with people dancing with a good rhythm section. And to me, that's what it's all about, and I know we're going to do another record, and I know it'll be, it'll be as good or better than this one. Okay. That's always, my goal is to get it better, and, I just miss playing, man. It's such a drag not to be able to do any kind of gig right now, I mean, I can't even do house shows, and there's some good bread there, but I'm hoping that me and Michael can maybe do some East Coast stuff next year, because I got some connections through some people to maybe do some stuff up, like, in his neck of the woods, around Woodstock, and Pennsylvania, New York, Boston, all over there, Rhode Island. That's where.
And East Tennessee, where we are, because my pal Billy here has a wonderful venue. We're going to give you an outright plug, Billy. It's called The Station.
Well, I can't wait to play there. I mean, it's
a
just
beautiful venue.
Yeah, we canceled all this year, but I've got you on my short list, though. As soon as we're on the other side of this, definitely we want to have you guys out.
Once the Corona is
done,
well,
we definitely want to hit that place for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the podcast, which keeps us going.
Yeah.
We've got that coming out every month, and sometimes little bonus episodes, and we've got some big stuff cooking with it. This coming Monday, November 16th, is Billy's sister-in-law. So she's John's wife. That's our.
Oh yeah.
She's our featured guest this month in November, and then again in December. So and then.
And she managed John for the last 5 years of his life.
Fiona Prine, right?
Yeah, she's an incredible lady, incredible person.
We're going to have to trade contacts back and forth between our podcasts. We're going to have a podcast unification.
Yeah.
Something. We toss some to you. You toss some to us.
Yeah. Oh, I know what. Yeah, that's
form a network.
Podcast.
To play the station, you got to give us
the world unite.
Exactly.
Karl Marx would have said,
Exactly.
Yeah. And we got some upcoming people. I just talked to Felix Cavallari, singer for the Young Rascals.
Sure.
I don't like to mention stuff until we got it in the can, but that's one for sure. and we're working on some other stuff too.
Excellent.
You know, yeah. I'm real juiced about this podcast. You know, I think it's going to really blossom into something bigger than both of us, which is a lot, especially when you're 6'6" and you weigh 320 pounds.
Jeez, you're a big boy.
I don't know how much. I'm not going to give Michael the weight because I'm not even sure what it is. But,
oh dear. Well, now we're getting very personal, and of course we're delighted to plug your podcast. Billy, you're going to cut all that out, aren't you? In the final.
Oh yeah, we can't have competition.
Sorry, you weren't supposed to hear that. Anyway, well, listen, guys, it was a pleasure having you on the show. We're not cutting you off because you start talking about the podcast, of course, but
yeah, give us your links, though. Yeah,
yeah. What's the link? The link.
We'll be sure and change it.
Yeah. Well,
the link is primetimepodcast.com.
Okay. All right. So all of you out there, yes.
Also, we're the podcast is distributed by American Songwriter Magazine,
which I write for. All right. Don't cut that out of the. Don't edit that out, Billy. We got to keep that in because I write for them and I'm under obligation.
And as far as your music sites links, what both of you guys have your own, I guess.
Yeah, it's just our names.com for both of us.
.com.
Yeah, well, that's easy to remember.
Yeah.
All right.
And then there'll be a new site for me starting probably at the beginning of the year called thedinallos.com, which will have the whole new record and links to. It'll have links to the podcast and links to Billy's record and all the stuff we're doing together.
Excellent.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to all of that, guys. It's been.
And if you go down to the post office and look for the 10 most wanted, you can find us in any state.
Yeah, well, you'll occupy the space that Phil Spector used to have on the post office wall, right?
Right.
The mark of a good comic is bringing it all back around, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So,
and my website's billyprine.com too. So,
okay.
Check it out. And you might see us at the post office.
We'll look forward to that. Yeah, and when we do, we'll run. We'll be intimidated.
Gazette,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to seeing you live as soon as we get on the other side of the crazy. And
can't wait.
Yeah, as soon as the fog moves, it's. Man, I just hope with the new things happening with, I'm not going to get political, but I just hope that this vaccine can be a Christmas present for the world.
Yes.
Amen. I hope that I can walk into a bar and order a Corona without them looking at me funny. I say, I want a Corona with lime. And then they say, you have the Lyme disease as well? I can't win with that.
I know, without looking like where you don't look like the Lone Ranger,
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you sneeze in public, man, we mask on. I mean, everybody runs, too.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Right.
They do.
Well, this is a good time to be a bank robber,
It is.
With the mask. You could just wear a mask all over your face that your eyes poking out. They'll never identify you.
That's right. And if you congregate people with the masks on, you say, "What time is the 12:05 coming through?" Yeah. We're gonna do a stick up.
It makes me and Lee look much prettier.
Yeah, there you go. Halloween was great though for it, wasn't it? Halloween was great with the mask.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was saying if any kids come to my door, I'm just going to open the door and throw a bucket of candy at them.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Say, get away from me. Trick or treat.
Well, on that note. Well, again, thank you, gentlemen. We really appreciate your time. It's been great.
Thank you, fellas.
And look forward to seeing you live and in person here in no time. And by the way, everybody, buy my book, Americana Music, Voices, Visionaries, and Pioneers of an Honest Sound. Available on Amazon and hopefully your favorite bookstore.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thanks, guys. Adios.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.